Now, welcome back. Following revelations of the discovery of a significant number of remains of babies and toddlers on the site of a former mother and baby home in Tuam in County Galway, we're looking at the story behind the headlines. Joining us now is Catherine Corless, the local historian who first uncovered the story. Catherine, you're very welcome to the programme.
Thank you very much.
And I believe this is your first television interview as well.
It is indeed.
So listen, thank you very much for giving us the honour of talking to us first about this. This has been a story that you have been determined to uncover for quite a number of years now. It hasn't been easy. What first prompted your interest in this particular story? Well,
what started out as a very simple essay for a local journal became an investigation on my behalf. I had never realised the extent of what went on there. I started out just doing the history of the home and the Bon Secours.
Yeah.
And the more I researched and the more I looked, I realised that this was going to be something much bigger than just a little simple story.
Yeah. So there came a point where you realised that something was amiss here. Can you remember when it was that that kind of light bulb went on in your head?
Well, I think it was the graveyard, really, when I realised that there was a graveyard there, because living out around that area past the home, I knew the home was there. I knew the children. I knew them from school, and I knew things weren't that nice in there. But it's only when I went looking for someone pointed out to me there's a graveyard there, do you know? And I felt that couldn't be right. They said it's not a famine graveyard. It's a lot of the home children buried there, and it's not on a map. And the graveyard wasn't on a map, or there was no knowledge. No printed knowledge of a graveyard. So I went inquiring then, and as time went on, I realised that the amount of burials there was really big. So first of all, I decided I needed to find out how many were buried, and I contacted the Bon Secours sisters for records because they're in the home, and I contacted their headquarters in Cork. And much to my surprise, they said, no, we have no burial records. We know nothing of a graveyard. And yet local knowledge and was telling me that they are there, because locals had cordoned off an area where they believed that there was some children buried.
Yeah.
Because back in 1974, 2 local boys had found skeletons there. And I was shocked that at the time there wasn't any notice taken of this report. The guards came up and had a look, and they assumed there were famine burials.
Okay.
And the priest came up and just said a few prayers.
Yeah. And
that was it, covered in. Nothing else happened at the time.
There was a lot of, and the first bit of resistance you've described to us was the Bon Secours just not wanting to get involved in it. But that was kind of more or less the way things went then subsequently.
Yes.
And despite your determination to get to the bottom of the story,
yes,
you met resistance at every
as I said,
angle.
I contacted Bon Secours hoping to get some records, and they had no knowledge. They said they passed all the records on to the Galway County Council.
So how about Galway County Council then? Were they helpful?
No, Galway County Council said whatever records they had were passed on to the Western Health Board, and they had no knowledge of a graveyard.
And the Western Health Board then, were they helpful?
No, they said all they had was the records of the individuals in the home. They had a few register books about admissions and women coming in to have the babies and going out again.
You can understand why you've been described as the Aaron Brockovich of the Tuam babies. You know, that your relentlessness, your determination to keep going until you got justice for these unfortunate children.
Yes.
So when did you know that you had what you needed to bring this to the attention of the public? Well,
seeing that I couldn't get death records and the knowledge that there were burials there, I had to just try and figure out how on earth am I going to find out any details at all. So I went to the Births, Deaths, Marriages offices in Galway. That well, it's public access. You can get any birth record. And they came back to me. They said, look, there's a lot of deaths here in the home. There's quite a lot. And I presume maybe 50, 100, that would be substantial. And when they told me that there was hundreds and hundreds of deaths in the home between 1925 and 1961, I was absolutely horrified. And I said, I must get those records. I must have this proof. So I got the details of each and every of the 798 deaths that occurred in the home itself, died in the home.
And there were no burial records for these. Now, tell me, they have no burial records for these children. So the fact was that these children must have been dying at an alarming rate compared to the number of deaths in the average population at the time.
Yes, indeed. Yes. I believe there were at least 5 times the average.
And what would have caused that level, that unbelievable spike in the number of deaths compared to the average population?
Well, I'm told along the way I was making that point, and I was told there was no penicillin that time. There was no medicine. What could they do? But in my mind was telling me that the Bonsecours were a nursing congregation. They would have known about hygiene and about separating babies who were ill.
Yes.
And I don't think there was any need for the epidemics that there were between measles, whoop and cough.
It was pure neglect.
To me, that's all I can say, that it was neglect.
And of course, we will know when autopsies are eventually done, we'll get a better sense, perhaps, if there's sufficient evidence there to find out what was going on there. Can I just bring you on to a couple of other things? One is there's been concerns expressed by people living in the local authority housing estate that was built on the site of the old workhouse, the old home, that there are perhaps bodies buried in their gardens.
No, I have explained that many times, that is not the case at all. Because from my records, from all maps, most of the houses are built where the workhouse, which became the mother and baby home, that's where a lot of the houses were actually on the foundations of the home itself.
So
and
not in the
massive.
outer reaches of it, yes?
Yes, it was a huge building.
Okay.
And there was concrete yards at the time, while the mother and baby home was there. So we know that it's at the back where the soft ground was.
Yes.
The few acres out the back.
Okay. That's where
the burials are.
A final question to you, Catherine. What's been your reaction to I suppose the way this story has been covered, the way it's been received by the population in general? Today in the papers, for instance, it's
well, the papers is full of it. Yes, indeed. Yeah, it is full. And I mean, the papers, they're only stating facts, more or less, what I have said, what I have envisaged all along, that there are burials there. And it is wonderful that it has come to light, and that those poor little babies will get recognition, and the survivors who are their brothers and sisters, that's all they wanted. They want an apology, and they want an acknowledgement, and they want a place to visit their brothers and sisters. There's just one thing I would like to highlight. Brendan O'Connor in the Irish Independent today, he kind of overstepped the mark in saying that babies were dumped into human waste and muck. Now, I never stated that was the case, and I don't believe it was the case. What I believe was the old septic tank, which belonged to the workhouse and which became defunct in 1937, that was obviously used as a burial chamber or whatever. And I'm quite sure that the babies were wrapped in shrouds that are left there. And tasteless and horrific and all as it is, that the fact that they would put them in a chamber like that, hidden away in a septic tank, there's no question that they were dumped into human waste. Okay.
Catherine, thank you so much for coming to us and for breaking this story. It's been, I know, a real a labour for you to bring it this far, but the story has broken now, so congratulations on that. And hopefully it will precipitate other searches as well in other parts of the country.
Hopefully.
Catherine Corless, thank you very much for your time.